everybody, welcome to Short Circuit 20. Turn that buzz off. Short Circuit 20. I never know, I was gonna say I never knew if I'd make it here to 20, because this can be a grueling process, but it's so much fun. Like today I was making the thumbnail. Let me just crack open my sugar-free Red Bull, not sponsored by. This is not good for me, but it's fine. You know, I need to be peppy for you. So here we go. Delicious. Tastes like a melted medical popsicle. All right. Episode 20. Good to be here. It's hard to imagine having done 20. I was just reflecting on this during the intro jam. I was like, this is probably 40-ish hours of circuit classes. And this crew, I think in all of JHS history, Bella and I talk about this a lot. Y'all are like the best crew. Y'all are the funnest people. And just in the chat, I love it. It's like there's so many of you who are so consistent, and we're just very grateful for it. I am personally thankful. I love to teach, and when you love to teach, you love to know that what you're doing is helpful. And so we would have never made it through 20 hours if there wasn't some reception back, and the things I've obviously seen where so many of you are learning and getting your head around circuits. I mean, I've seen so many messages that it's wild. It's like, I mean, it's helped people with their mental health. It's helped people who've struggled to be creative. It's helped a lot of you understand the gear that you buy. So I'm just like really thankful. Wanted to say that episode 20. If you're not familiar with this show, it is a live stream if you're new here. And I essentially try to spend about an hour on a subject at a time. So today is hybrid fuzz face, and there's a playlist. That playlist has all these 19 other episodes, and it's thematic. So you'll see where I've spent time on certain circuits for several episodes, and they're in chunks, and everything helps everything. So you might be saying, I don't want to know about an electro distortion or an LPB1. Yeah, you do, because that same knowledge applies to the fuzz face today, or the DOD 250 to, next series, or not that I'm doing that, but anything we do, everything connects. And so, yeah, that's a note. Second note is, most common question is, where do I find all these parts, all these things, all the components, right? All this stuff. Well, number one, the breadboard system that I use, not sponsored by, I just use it because I love it, is Coppersoundpedals.com. Let me pull that browser open and just show you the typical thing here. If you go to their DIY shop, they have a whole host of things. I love the breadboards. I have been designing circuits on this show that I may actually make JHS products out of, because they've turned out really great. But right now, you can go to like a breadboard bundle. Let's say you wanted to get into breadboarding. You could go down here. The Shrieking Eel, that's me. I designed that. And here's the build guide. So you can buy the whole thing, where it's like, if you want to get into building, got a glitching out there. Yeah, if you want to get into building, you can do that. Or if you already have a breadboard, you can just buy the component kits here. Shrieking Eel, again, that's me. And the Boosta Driva Fuzz is me. So I've designed both of these. These are original circuits based off of classic topologies, and you can go in here and make them. And so there's really nothing like this out there. It's pretty phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. So all of that said, Coppersound pedals, the playlist, and where to get the other parts, the tools, in the description below. There is an Amazon like affiliate link. I made some little sections of things I use. One of them is electronics short circuit tools. So if you click that link, you can buy some stuff in there. It points you to exactly what I use. You're going to see me using stuff like this DCA. Yeah, it's just saving all the trouble. We're going to give away 2 pedals today. Bell and Joshua, I think I'll run till about 4. I think I'll run to almost 5 on this one. but let's give away a 3 series fuzz because it's a fuzz face topology. And let's give away a Legends of Fuzz smiley. If Coppersound's here, which they normally are, let's give away some Coppersound or a Coppersound. Maybe one of my parts kits or something. We can pay for that Coppersound if you want to, no problem. I'll let everybody work that out while I get focused here. Oh, there's more. So there's so much other stuff. JHS Extra. I don't know if they linked it in the description yet, but there is a second JHS channel that has set for a while. We're going to start putting a lot of our random things in there that don't feel like the normal episodes. It's not going to affect the normal channel in any way, but there is going to be more content from us in the sense of it's a little bit of some of the things are processes, just us filming them ourselves, doing stuff that normally wouldn't make it on the channel. We have a lot of footage that it needs a different place to live. So our second channel, JHS Extra, please go over there today and subscribe. There will be circuitry DIY stuff that I post there, me restoring vintage pedals and things. So you're gonna want to see that and be a part of that. And then we are happy to announce, finally, YouTube memberships. Everybody applaud. I don't have an applause button, but we're doing YouTube memberships. Belle wanted me to make sure she's putting links in there. Let me just read out basically what she said. So she will put all this in here, but I just want to say it to the video. The memberships will be launching very soon. We're going to be doing once a month members only live stream. So you have to be a member to be a part of that live stream. I think I'll be doing personal Q&As for that starting off. Exclusive giveaways. I have some amazing things in my shop here that I've built out over the years. One-offs, really collectible, fun prototypes. I'm going to be giving those away every month. So if you're a member, you'll be a part of that. This will not affect anything on our channel. Our channel will always be free, but this is something a little deeper and a little more special for some of you who are more into what we do and want to be a part of that. It's still processing. We've actually finished it, but it's processing and it won't be public today, but it will be soon. So just stay tuned on that. Also, yeah, that's kind of, yeah, that's the gist of that. And then, yeah, I've already mentioned the second channel. So I think we're ready to dive into hybrid fuzz face. I don't have anything else after that. So there's 2 giveaways, all that stuff. What you just saw me play, this is the 1966 series special. I have never sold these, only to friends and like custom orders. This is my favorite fuzz I've ever made. But it's not something in production. It's a fancy dancy boy fuzz, but this is the special. This is a hybrid fuzz. So I played that for you today. I'm not going to exactly tell you how to build this. There's a couple fun little things I don't want to reveal yet. I have a fun way that I'm going to reveal every part of this. So we'll get to that. So we just want to build a hybrid fuzz face, and I want to explain what is a hybrid fuzz face and why should you care. So two episodes ago, I mean, the last 2 episodes have been fuzz face. The first one, I taught you to build a silicon fuzz face. I taught you to build the smiley, which we're going to give away today, right? And then I taught you to build a germanium fuzz face. They're back there on that table. I don't want to walk back there, but you know, I had the vintage fuzz faces out and I showed you. So you have, through the history of fuzz, you started with germanium fuzz faces, and germanium, it's a type of transistor. They're real fragile. They're real cool. They're really special. And then they kind of moved to a silicon thing in the 70s because it's easier to make. So you have these like 2 types of fuzz faces. And so if you're catching up on this, please go watch those episodes. But there is a thing called a hybrid fuzz face. I don't know who the first person was to do this, but someone decided, this is our schematic we're going to continue to use. This is from Beavis Audio, just a Google image that I pulled off. This is a classic fuzz face. So we're going to use the NPN. I'm going to skip over what that means for the most part, but that means that this is normal polarity like all the pedals currently on your board. Now, what we're really talking about here, circled in red, these transistors are what makes a fuzz face different. All the other parts, you see those resistors in blue, the caps in blue, none of that really has to change. You don't have to change anything. But if you want to start going germanium, silicon, negative polarity, positive polarity, you got to start changing that stuff. So the thing that we want to talk about today, let me see if I can write it on here neatly. I'll just write it over here on the, let's do up here in red. We want to make a hybrid. Now, I don't know who first did this, like I said. I'm not sure. I remember seeing it back a long time ago, like when I started JHS, I would see people talking about this, and I didn't know exactly what they meant. But essentially, hybrid means it is half silicon and half germanium, which has benefits. So why would you do that, Josh? Why would you not just make a silicon or a germanium or a silicon fuzz? Well, the benefits are a hybrid fuzz face is a lot more stable. Let's look again at the schematic, and let me try to notate like where we're going to start and what we're going to do here. It's more stable because of thermal shift, and we'll call it thermal stability. On an old germanium fuzz face, they're extremely sensitive to temperature changes, and we talked about this in the germanium episode last week. So that can cause tonal inconsistencies, that can cause just randomness. Like I've made fuzzes for people, and one guy was playing a festival in the summer out in the desert, and his fuzz was like crazy. It just wasn't operating well because it got too hot. So as good as germanium is and fun as it is, it's unstable. So what we can do is pair a germanium with a silicon transistor hybrid, and it gives thermal stability. The number two thing it's going to do is it's going to give you the Miley Cyrus effect, which is the Hannah Montana effect, which is it has both tonal abilities. A silicon fuzz face, people will say it's more bright and cutting. I like that. Hendrix liked it. And then you'll have the germanium, people will say it's softer, more rounded. So you get a little bit of both worlds. It's the best of both worlds. Hanging out, take it slow, rock it out at the show. I think that's the lyrics. Belle will scold me if I got that wrong. It's fine. It's all good. Everything's good. Boki, I see you, Boki. I'm just looking at the chat for 1 second. Okay, moving on. And then you just get to experiment, so that's fun. So here is what we're going to do. We are going to take this apart. This is the breadboard from the germanium. I'm just going to take it apart here. Mainly, yeah, let's take it completely apart. All right, so we're going to pull these jumpers. Oh, the jumpers getting pulled. Remove them, remove them. It's a great song. I'll put it on Spotify. All right, I don't even use Spotify. In the comments below, or Belle, if you want to put up a poll, Spotify versus Apple Music. I hate Spotify's interface, so I would love to know that most of the people watching this hate it. Hi, Austin, I see you. We have the whole gang in here today. Y'all are getting the full media gang. Nick's probably somewhere napping. He's had a really hard time with a particular video about a particular band that I will not name. All right. Let's pull this stuff. Pull all these pots out. And let's, yeah, so we're kind of starting over from scratch here. Now, again, I'm always assuming there's some new people. I know most of you are oldie goldies, but you know, going through the breadboard, here's how we do it. We are going to connect the power to the board. We're going to connect the output to this jack right here, and we're going to connect this input over here. So we treat this breadboard, the beauty of the Coppersound system is you just treat it like a pedal. You don't have to wire a bunch of goofy stuff up. So there you go. All right, so we have that. We turn it off. All right, so we just want to connect the power. We want to take, and VCC is positive coming from the tip of this. We're going to put it in the red because we're making a normal negative ground fuzz. So we're gonna wire it up normally. I could build any kind of circuit here. Who the best? Spotify, Apple Music. Let's fight. Everybody fight. All right, let's see here. And so my power is hooked up there, but I also want to use this power rail. So let's go ahead and do that same thing. It has another bit down here. There's your ground. Let's just take a VCC is positive to the positive. So that has connected this to the power railing of this. Okay, if you're really confused and like, oh my God, the first episodes of Short Circuit ever, they cover how to breadboard. So the next thing we want to do, we want to start building this. So I'm going to insert, we're going to insert that 2.2 UF right in the front. Okay, we're going to go through it. Here's the 2.2, or it could be another value. This is the classic Fuzz Face value. So we're going to insert that right. Hold on one second here. I'm having like a weird glitchy thing on the, let's see here. Yeah, sorry. My iPad's like, I hate you. All right, so yeah, you face that long leg towards the input. I'm going to plug it right into where it says input here because I can. They have that little terminal. You can use a wire, but I'm actually just straight into it. That way I don't have to use another jumper. And let's do that. So my input cap is hooked up. Okay. I'll lay it down where you can see it a little better. Okay. And then next we want to go over, we want to get 100. Well, let's do the first transistor. So on the hybrid system, I want the first transistor to be silicon. Okay. So the BC108, that's correct. We'll just try that. BC108, I want it to be silicon. The second transistor, though, I want it to be germanium. So I'm going to scratch this out here. It says BC108. So I scratched it out, and I'm just going to scribble in blue, because it was blue. I'm going to put germanium. I have the handwriting of a drunk chicken. You can deal with that. Sorry. All right. So let's put in that part. So I'm going to use one of these here that I already had out. These are BC108s, pretty classic part. Just a BC108 metal can transistor. Okay. We're going to put that in. And I'm going to position it. I'm going to position it like right here. Okay. Now I want to connect, because this is like Legos. So I want to do my first connection. I want to make sure this cap is connected to the base of that transistor. So let's just do that with a jumper. We're not going to worry today about a bunch of neatness. We don't have time for that. So we're just going to plug this jumper in. That middle is the base. On almost any standard transistor, I'll zoom in even more. No, that's as far as I can go. You have emitter base collector. So that's the base. So the next thing I want to do is I want to connect that emitter to ground. If you look at Q1, the emitter goes straight to ground. I tend to forget that one. I always overstep it. So again, I like marking what I've done here. It's just that way I'm covering, because you don't remember what you've done. So I'm marking it. That's the connections I've made. Let me connect that emitter to ground. Bam, right there on the top, brown wire. Emitter is connected to ground. Now I want to go ahead and install this Q2. It needs to be germanium. So I want to make this connection here, collector of Q1 over to base of this new transistor. So how do I pick? I have to vote. I have to vote Apple Music. It was asking me. There we go. So yeah. All right. Spotify's winning. I hate y'all. Okay. I need to pick, like, what am I doing? So let's get a DCA. Right here. Let's pull the DCA up here on the board. I love that glare. It's really nice. All right, so let's just grab a transistor. And I'd love to have something around 100. Here's an old Etco American-made thing. I'm going to plug it into the DCA. If you want to know more about this, again, I've covered all this stuff, so I don't want to waste my time on what's a DCA and what are you doing. The last episode, I spent a lot of time on this. So I'm going to measure this. And 201, I mean, that's kind of cool that it's that hot. So keep in mind, this is P&P germanium. I just caught myself. I can't use a P&P germanium. I'm glad I caught myself. I was going to be popping that in and like going in circles. Back to the paper. Remember, this is an NPN. So on the hybrid, it has to be NPN. That was like literally one of my major points I was going to cover first, but I forgot. So I have a bunch of these that I pulled out for you. The normal fuzz faces all use P&P, but we're doing the hybrid based off the silicon schematic. So I have, you know, I keep stuff in a bin system. I go to a container store and get these shoe boxes. This is my favorite. That's my favorite NPN germanium. That's like a Japanese. I've been collecting these for quite a bit. They're cool. But let's dig into this kind of weird grab bag here. Let me zoom out. I'll just kind of show you how I organize these and such. So yeah, again, these are all the right polarity. So I have, this is from Bob Meyer's house when I went to talk to him about inventing the Big Muff. These are fun. So these are like just new old stock things. Here's some Soviets. I measure them. I kind of do a measurement of like 5, and then I'll write on the Ziploc bag, oh, these are 50 to 75, right? So I could use these, but I really do want something that's 100. Here's a Soviet I didn't measure. These have a 250 gain. These are like still in the packaging. They're in like the match packaging. Here's another Soviet that's around 50. Again, I'm looking for 100. That's a great transistor. There's nothing in there. It's funny. Let's see here. Just gonna dig. What are these? 200 to 400. I have a lot more stuff out there, but okay. Here's a UK made 80 to 150. This is a 1308. Oh yeah, 1308. I was using these in the Electra. If you remember that Electra moment, I was using these. So let's play with this because this is a good germanium, and I got my measurements I want. So that's kind of how I do that. I pre-sort. You know, I tend to be a pretty organized person with my parts because what I was able to do right there was I had everything gathered. I had it labeled. I had the measurements in place. So now I can go down to the DCA. And let's just find one of these. That's 100, right? That's all we're trying to do here. All right. Yes, there is a Discord. Some people did not know that. Bell's dropping all that info in there. Joshua is. There is a Discord. All right. I have one of these 1308s in, and it's going to measure 143. I'm going to use that and move on. So my Q2, I'm going to place it right here, like that. I now have my transistors in place. Okay. We're doing good. We're doing very good. Transistors are in place. And that's blurry. There we go. So back over to this. I'm using, just so you know, if you want to go to eBay and buy some or something, you can generally find this stuff. I'm going to use a 2N 1308. 2N 1308. But all you got to do, go search guitar like pedal parts in Google. You'll see like Cusack's site. You'll see all kinds of stuff. So I'm using a 1308. And now we can make that connection from the collector of Q1 to the base. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to go from the collector of Q1 to the base of Q2. All right, so I made that connection. My next connection I want to make, because now it's in place, I want to do this. I want to do the feedback resistor. Remember, this is the sections of the fuzz face. I've already gone over this, but remember this while you're working through this. Like, you know, this is in the last episode. If you go to electrosmash.com, you can just download that. Just remember, because this is the feedback resistor, and it's good to know what you're building, not just building it, you know. All right, so looking down, I need 100K up here in my bins, 100K resistor, and I'm going to connect the base of Q1 over to the emitter of Q2. Now they're a long way apart, so I'm going to take the base of Q1 and I'm just going to insert this here, and I'm going to like just let that kind of go there. Then I'm going to take a jumper. I wish you would step back from that. Remember that song, Jumper? Yeah, everybody loves and hates it. All right, to the emitter of Q2. So I've done that connection. Let's check it out. That's marked. Let's continue on. This is basic breadboarding, right? I want to do this 33K that goes up to 9-volt positive. So I'm going to get a 33K, and I'm going to take it from the collector of Q1 to 9-volt positive. Collector of Q1 to positive 9 volts. Real easy to do. Move that jumper there a little bit. Positive 9 volts. It's a little hard for you to see because there's a jungle of wires, but I'm just following it, following that schematic. And it's gotten a little cluttered there. Let's use some pliers just so I'm not fumbling with my jumbo fingers. There we go. That resistor is now inserted. And all right, we're good to move on. Next, I want to take a 330 ohm and drop it from the 9-volt section back into the board, because this is part of the bias. So I'm taking a 330 ohm and let's drop it down just from 9 volts anywhere really. I'm going to do that right here. So I just like inserted, sorry, I had on the wrong one. I just inserted that 9-volt positive just down into the breadboard, because now I'm going to jump off of that for the next part. 8.2K. I'm going to put a trim pot here. I hate fixed resistors in this position, so we're going to replace this with a trim pot, because if you have been watching, you know that this needs to be a trim pot. So let's do a let's do like 100K trim pot. Let me write that in blue for you. That is way too chunky. Let's see here. 100K trim pot. And really, all you want to do on this, you're looking at the back of the, it's like you're looking at the back of a potentiometer. You think like this, 1, 2, 3, right? So we're just going to come off of 1 and 2 and go into those positions. It's a replacement for the resistor, okay? You're doing a variable resistor in place of the actual resistor. So let's put that in there. All right, so we have a B100K. You could do A, it doesn't matter. And let's put it down here like that. Let me move this up so I have a little bit of a space underneath it. All right, so this will be our trim pot. So I need to connect that 330K that I had in there. I can actually lay it down all the way instead of plugging it. Let's go straight into that trim pot, because that's what I need to do. Just straight into lug 1. See that? I bridged and just went straight in. And then I want to take a wire, one of my little patch wires, and go from lug 2, which is the middle lug, to the collector of that Q2, the germanium. All right, so we're wired up there. I got that completely wired. So let's cover it in. I know that I did that. So that's everything I've done. I've done that too. Now let's put in a 1K fuzz pot. Let's do this. 1K fuzz pot to ground. Okay. So I like a B1K. Let's put it over here. All right. Got to remember to switch for y'all. All right. Make sure here. I always keep my text up in case something's going on, but it looks like y'all are going well. In the chat, a lot of people here. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So we're doing that fuzz pot. So look at it again. R4 100K. We did that. We're doing the variable VR1 fuzz pot down here. Just want to wire that up. So to do that, I'm going to come off the emitter of that germanium Q2, or the NPN germanium. I'm going to come off of that emitter. That emitter is right here. And I'm going to connect it into lug 1 of that pot I just put in. And then lug 3, I need to ground it. Okay, grounding it. And lug 2, I need to connect, if you look at this, I have to connect a capacitor. This is the bypass capacitor. We've covered this in depth as well. So what do I need here? Yeah, 20, whatever. I already have the cap out. What am I doing? Okay. So let's put that in. I have a 22 UF. That's totally fine. The long leg will be on the pot, and the negative short leg will go straight to ground. So I jumped it here. See that? I just connected it like daddy long legs. I let it reach over there. Okay, so that's connected. Now that entire thing is set up. I need to now put in a 1 UF. 10 NF is whatever. I am not British. I always joke there's different ways to say the same things. We'll just use a 0.1 UF. Bam, 0.1 or 10 NF, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, sorry. All right, now I just want to come off of where that trim pot, like above that trim pot. So our trim pot is right here. Now I need to run a jumper off of that. So I have it kind of set where that resistor was going into lug 1. Well, I also just want to come off that same spot. I want to kind of piggyback off of it, and I'm going to jump over here. I hate how messy this is, but you guys understand. I'm just doing this quickly, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on a live stream making it beautiful. But just know that it bothers me. I do like neatness. I do like order. And you should too. If you're breadboarding, I encourage you to go slower and actually trim your wires and like do it much nicer than this. But this is just for demonstration. But I would never encourage you to do this all the time. I think the wires and stuff are chaotic. Just for my personality, at least. I like seeing it cleaner. All right, so I've installed that cap. And now we just go down to the volume pot and we're done, right? So we're done here. So let's do the 500K. I'll do a B because I like linears. Linear fan club, right? Who is I'm looking over here at the chat. Spotify is killing Apple Music. Both my kids agree. Oh, that's crazy. That is so ridiculous. I don't know how I feel about that. It told me to report the poll. Should I report it to YouTube so it'll shut my channel down? It's really funny. I see a question worth answering. John Swade, how would you rewire to use PNP for second transistor? You don't. They're different polarities. You don't want to do that. You need NPNs. Or vice versa. If you want a PNP fuzz, then get some PNP silicons. You can do it both ways. But, if you're just really hung up on that, you could build a PNP schematic and use something like a BC177. That's a PNP silicon. So you could do that both ways. I have multiple PNP silicons. Here's another one. Like the 2N2907. So yeah, that was worth answering, because you don't have to build it in PN. That's just what most people do, and it's easier. Okay. All right, back down to the bench. Volume pot. Put it right here. Okay. And all we're really doing is we're carrying from that capacitor over to lug 1. Lug 2 is the output. So that's going to go there to this output on the board, because remember, that connects to the jack, right? So that's how we're getting there. And then you've got to ground lug 3 for your volume. Will this work? Here we go. This is still broken. I bought a new, it's in the floor back here. I've just been so busy. Last of my concerns has been that. All right. Turn that flight delay off. I'm scared to turn it on because they never work off the bat. But I have to believe in myself. Do you guys believe in me? You know, I think I've used this reference, but it's like on Elf where Santa's sleigh won't fly. I feel like my breadboarding only works when you guys believe in me. You know, when they're standing in Central Park and they finally believe, and there's enough on the belief meter and Santa can fly. That's what's happening here. So I need all 1,000 of you on the stream to believe in me. All right. Love that. Not working. But that's not too unexpected. Something's not totally connected. Let me stare at the schematic here. Let me think. So when you have the, oh, it's not working, you notice I'm not panicked. This is like, this is just how it is. I probably missed one little thing. So you go back to it. And you just gotta go through it. There's no shortcuts. You shouldn't get frustrated. So number 1, also, I'm gonna let it ring out just in case. You're gonna hear that buzz, and I'm sorry. But just like Santa's sleigh was broken, I need you to believe. Okay. My polarities are hooked up properly. First thing I do is I look at the transistors and just make sure there's something on all 3 legs, make sure they're in line. Sometimes stuff's just not pushed in. So it could be. I can also use an audio probe here, but I want to show you the simple basic thing. I want to make sure also that things are fully, okay. Well, that's right. I don't need, on the trim pod, I don't need a 3rd lug. I'm just checking lugs. I'm checking the basic connections. Now, let's see. Okay, so let's go through it. This cap, that cap's touching. That's not good. Let's see here. So you want that positive side in the input jack, right? Okay, that didn't fix it, but that was weird. Now we're going from there to the base. If you have an Apple Pencil, you can do this. Love that. It's probably sending Bluetooth through it. That's funny. All right, into the base. All I'm doing here, this is not exciting, but if you want to learn circuits, this is life. I'm going through each little part. All right, I'm coming from the cap over. I'm going to actually show you how you just need to own it and do it this way. I'm going to erase my paths just so I can redraw them, because I just need to be sure. I thought I was sure, but I did not do it right. I did something wrong, and it's probably really simple. Just going to erase my paths there. All right, so that cap is hooked up to base. I'll let you watch me do this instead of the screen. Does anybody see what I did wrong? I've forgotten to ask. Sometimes when you're doing it, I mean, especially in the environment of live streaming in front of people, anybody notice anything I did? wrong. Sometimes people are yelling at me and I never look. R1. They're yelling at me. Oh, hold on. Hold on. This is funny. Someone texted him it's R1. Yeah, thank y'all. Let me look. So R1 is, yep, it's the collector 33K. What's wrong about R1? There it is. Let's see here. It's on the emitter. Son of a biscuit. Thank y'all. Look at us. Look at us. Let's see here. Collector. Hold on. Let's see. The 0.01's hooked up right. Yeah, well, let's see. The 33K from 9 volt to the collector. Are you guys still yelling at me? This is really fun. Also, I know some of you are asking me personal questions. I can't read them and do the show, so I'm sorry for that. Interesting. So, all right, I did do that wrong. That's like so I must have multiple issues, which is again not shocking. 33K from the collector to the 9 volts. That is done. The 100K from the base to the emitter is right there. Double checking. Okay. Then I have the collector is also running over to the base of Q2. That is correct. The base, now the emitter is to ground. That is correct. So Q1 is properly wired in. I'm trying to glance over here and just make sure, because you guys see this more clearly than me, ironically, because you're doing less. It's a little bit easier to see and focus in on. All right, so now let's continue down the path. Let's look at that. 330 ohm is coming from, yep, that's a problem. No, that's right. 330 ohm is coming into the trim pot. Is it in? Yeah, it's in. Okay. That is also going over to the 0.01. Oh, I said 0.1 a minute ago. Whatever. The output cap. You can make it whatever you want. 0.01. That's not going to make the circuit not work. Let's see. And then, hold on. Someone's saying, this is really fun, actually. I need to do this on purpose and just like see if you guys can pass the test. What else do we got here? I'm reading your comments on what's wrong with it because it's like a game. It's like a game show. Let's double check this. Lug 3, 2 is output. Yeah, the output's wired properly. Someone was saying the output's wired wrong. It's not. The output goes into 1. It could be 1 or 3. And then as long as your output's on the second lug, yeah, it's fine. Let's go back here. I want to look at all your stuff, but I also want to stay focused and see. I want to see like what you might be seeing. Yeah, whatever. All right, I need to keep going. Okay, so I've got that in. So that bias is correct. Is that actually going? Yeah, it is. It's going over to the collector. Q2. Yeah. Wait. No, that's correct. Then we have the emitter of Q2 is going down. Okay, this is probably where the meltdown is. The 100K, well, no, the 100K touches the emitter. That is done. And then our variable pot 1 touches, let's see here. Let's see here. Variable 1 is going into lug 1 of that. Lug 2 is the capacitor. That's wired properly. Is it even plugged in though? That might be the problem. No, it's plugged in. Okay, so we get that into ground. Double check it. And then you've got lug 3 of that going to ground, so that's correct. Then we have the output cap, the 0.01. Let's see here. Yep. Hold on. No, that's not right. That's not right. I need to stay focused. So the 100K. Wait 1 second. That is correct. It's the 330 ohm. That's in the right place. Don't move that. Output cap. A bunch of people, you're saying the lug 2 of the, so lug 2 of this doesn't have to connect to anything. It's a variable resistor. And then a lot of you are like, lug 1 and 3 doesn't matter. It's going to work backwards. That wouldn't keep it from not working. So, but yeah, just to be sure, lug 1, lug 2 output. That's very strange. It seems to all be hooked up properly. Let me see if that's a dead transistor or two. I mean, I did have power. I did actually have the power in the wrong place. Let's make sure I didn't kill these transistors, or at least the Q1. Let's see. Wouldn't that be nice? No, it's still working, so that's good. People are like, guitar volume, pot volume. I hear you. It's not that, though. Let's see here. Let's test this one. I didn't test it, the germanium. Let's see if it works. See, it's working in bypass, just for all of you who are curious. All right, so that one's working too. All right, let's put it back in. Okay, so now we're going to test the voltage on the transistors. Q2, what do we got here? All of you who are yelling at me to flip the output wires, I'm doing it for you. But it wouldn't have made it not work. I wanted to get it working first. That was a mistake, so thank you for catching that. Yeah, I'm actually gonna flip those two. I've had a long few days and my brain is a little numb. All right, we're working now. You know what it was? Can I tell y'all what it was? I told Belle before we started, I was like, today has been insane. I had like a couple software problems and my brain was jumbled. My brain's jumbled. That's this issue. I don't know, like that pot, the bias pot was turned all the way down, so the circuit was off. It was starving it. And that's a 100K. I don't know why I would put 100K in there. That's insane. I'm sorry. So I literally was like, I just, you know, put the wrong value bias pot. It's such a big pot that it doesn't have enough sweep. So let's put, that'll be a little, I'm actually going to go smaller. So yeah, sometimes you just make stupid mistakes. So that was definitely a stupid mistake. Let's do a 10K for that bias control. It was working the whole time. Let's look top down here. Let's, like, as I turn this again, if you're new, you're not going to know this, but go back and watch the other episodes, especially last week. 4.5 is sweet spot, but this is giving me all the way to 9, which you'll never use, but I can starve it as well. So this is going to be a really nice 3-knob hybrid fuzz. So we're working now. We're good as gold. Let me take a second to read the comments. Thanks to everybody who was like yelling at me, but I don't think anybody noticed that. Let's see. Yeah, 100K seems wild. It is wild. I don't know why I said that. So let me go back, and that's the beauty. And to everyone who, you know, I've said this a lot. I don't want to be a broken record, but until you've done this kind of thing live, like I manage a lot of stuff in my head, right? So I'm running the video switcher, the audio switcher. I'm like thinking about the circuit. It's a million little pieces. So I know y'all all understand that, but I'm just, yeah, that was really funny. I like a B10K here. It really depends on some of the leakage going on in the, like what you're dealing with in the transistors, but B10K is going to work really nice here with what I have. Okay. All right. Yeah, and just a little bit of further notes here. You know, when you look at the volume, that's lug 1, 2, 3. On the fuzz control, you're going to send like, that's lug 2. Ground is going to be that lug 1. So I'm just writing this out for you. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. Well, I said you'd never use 9. It sounds great on these 2 transistors. A Bell, shoot me a text with if we want to do a giveaway right now, because we're kind of going to wrap up, but I'm going to mess with this for a minute. If you want to text me the giveaways, I can announce them. I don't see Coppersound on here, although I have not really been looking. This does sound good. All right, everyone, you believed in me like they believed in Santa on Elf, and because of that, listen to this glorious sound. All right, so that's super gated, pretty unusable. Fun. Let's put it at the sweet spot. 4.5 volts. That's half supply voltage. That's what Q2 should read for a traditionally great sounding fuzz. All right. David Dixon says, I like bias at 4.3 volts. All right, David. I mean, I just want to say that's a very subjective thing because every transistor sounds different. But here's your 4.3. Here's 4.5. So there is no audible difference at that short of a measurement. I also want to say, I can imagine it's so noisy. It's actually not a noisy circuit. A breadboard is just inherently open. If you look at this, it's a bunch of antennas, right? And there's a lot of cameras around this. It's where I'm setting, like, even in relation to the, like, I have an iPad here, a scope. So there's a lot going on, but this is actually a really quiet, fuzz faces are generally quiet. I just want to say, I can feel it. People saying it's so noisy. It's actually okay. It's not really that noisy. It might be in reality, but the circuit's not that noisy. What I'm doing is I'm showing you that it cleans up really, really well. So like I'm gonna max it out, and then the cleanup is there. So the hybrid is the best of both worlds. It is super stable, really nice, warm and rounded, also attacky, very pointed, but it also cleans up. I mean, it's the best way to do a fuzz if you have the means and ability and process to insert that germanium. The germaniums are always difficult. They're always going to cause issues at scale. But if you're building a one-off fuzz for yourself or some friends, there's no way to beat this, in my opinion. This is the ultimate way to make a fuzz face. So that was the fuzz. So I haven't even messed with the fuzz control. You know, I said last week you should just like remove the fuzz control, which I am a believer in. But there is more versatility in the normal fuzz control off the emitter when you have this set up. Like, that sound is really good. Really, 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 really good. It's fuzz is way back. It's like on 30%. Turn the volume up. That's the fuzz control all the way off and the bias at 4.5. kind of muddy, but let's rebias that. Oh, that'll be horrible. I mean, that's cool. Let's give it all the voltage. Fuzz control off. So the spot between all the way on and like barely off is pretty wide. All right. I mean, that's the gist. Let's clean this document up for you so you can see it and screenshot it. And I'm assuming Bella's texted me. That was like 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Oh, she's already announced the giveaways. I can announce them audibly, Bella, if it helps. But if they already know they've won, there's no point in it. Let's see here. So let's I'm just cleaning this up here. And let's see. Oh my Lord. It's so funny how this Apple Pencil operates. Okay. Yeah. So let's draw that. It's a B10K. Unbelievable. I keep undoing it. There we go. So, you know, that's this. Oh, that's wrong. It's 0.01. What, again, this value doesn't matter. You do whatever you want. If you're playing a bass, you know, raise those caps. Let's see here. Germanium, NPN, any NPN silicon. You don't have to do the BC108. You could do anything. It does not matter. Yeah, that's it. I mean, there, you can screenshot that. That's the gist of the hybrid. I mean, there's not a lot of magic in it. As with all the Fuzz Face stuff, you've seen me. It all really comes down. I'm going to circle it in pink because Austin's here. This is for you, Austin. It all just comes down to bias. It really just comes down to bias controls. I would encourage, you know, if you're building one for yourself, just always put a third pot on your fuzz. This setup is perfect. You know, you have your volume, your fuzz, and then you have that bias because the bias is like essential to making the circuit so versatile. That's why when you own an actual old Fuzz Face or something, it's the most unversatile thing ever made. I mean, I know you can use your guitar. People would hate that comment, but really there's so much more you could do with the circuit if it just had one more pot. So that's it. That's where we are. All the giveaways have been announced. Congratulations to whoever won the 3 Series Fuzz and the Smiley. Yeah, again, there are a lot of things going on in the chat. There's links in the description. Remember the Amazon list if you want to know where to buy parts. Remember JHS Extra, go to subscribe to that. That's our second channel that we're going to be hitting pretty heavily with stuff, including a lot of this type of thing from me. I want to do a Q&A for Short Circuit soon. I may do that next week. So we have an email for Short Circuit, and it is just been set up. Let me see what that. I want to make sure I don't tell you the wrong one. Short Circuit email here. If you have questions that you would like for me to actually point out and do on a obviously, I think when I do the Q&A, it'll be live and I can read your stuff. I believe it's it's shortcircuit@jhspedals.com. So if you have specific questions, I will be slow to answer because I do a lot of stuff, but shortcircuit@jhspedals.com is an official email for this show. So I'm going to do a Q&A. Email me over there so it doesn't get lost in the millions of things that I'm looking at. And we do giveaways every episode. We do them different every time. You do have to be present. We just like the live stream environment. Remember memberships. So we have JHS Extra as a second channel that's open. And then we have the memberships, which are being kicked off. There's a link in the description for that. We're going to do exclusive live stream for our members. We're going to do a private we're going to do exclusive giveaways as well. So a private live stream for the members and then exclusive giveaways. I've been making a lot of fun, weird stuff over the years. And I literally, in that room, there's a big, massive container full of one-off pedals I'm going to use and give those away to our members. Yeah, this community is really fun. You're such a big part of our YouTube world and our whole live stream community. So that's it. I think we're good to go here. And thanks for tuning in and hanging out. I don't see anything I need to cover. We're good. 4:41. I wrapped it up decently. All right. Everybody have a great day. And I hope this was helpful. Build it out, have fun, and sorry about the bias pot thing. The whole reason it was working the whole time. I just didn't turn the bias pot to hear it. So I would say this is successful. All right, everybody, bye-bye. Have a great rest of your day.